Hello, my name is Subhash Parichan, and here through this video, I'm doing code reviews of some of my selected work that relate to software engineering and design, algorithms and data structure, and databases categories. And here I'm also talking about the enhancement plans that intend to address the issues and concerns I have raised in the code analysis. For the software engineering and design category, I'm using my work I did for my class CS 330, Computational Graphics and Visualization at SNHU. For a 3D object for this class, I designed a RAM head and showed my skills regarding navigation of this object. The big reason I chose this RAM head to model was my fascination for the movie Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro. I started with a fascination, but then I remember I had to face some real struggling moments as I was concluding this project. Over here, a user can navigate the 3D of the RAM head by using the three elements altogether, and they are the alternate key from the keyboard with either the right or the left mouse button clicked along the mouse movements on the scene. If one holds the alternate key plus the left mouse button and moves the mouse left or right, then you can orbit the camera horizontally around the head. If one holds the alternate key plus the left mouse button and moves up and down, then one can orbit the camera vertically along the RAM head. Whereas if you hold the alternate key plus the right mouse button and move up the scene, then you can zoom out from the head. And if you move down, then you would be zooming in. One can also view the perspective or orthographic views by either pressing the left or the right arrow button on the keyboard. Analyzing the structure of the code here, I would say the code does implement the design as required and is also quite complete for the requirements set for this class CS330. Looking at the code, one will see the header files are included right in the beginning with the GLM math header files after. Soil folder is then included to load the texture for the 3D object created in the window. After all this, we can see that there are variables declared for shader, window size initialization, buffer, and array objects. All the variables are defined here with consistent, meaningful, and clear names, and there are no such known redundant or unused variables as such. And we can see some of the variables that are declared here, such as glint RAM shader program, glint special key, boolean mouse detected, int view state, and etc. After these, there are global vector declarations, and the first set of global vector declarations that we can see are about camera position, about camera up in the y-axis, forward z-axis, and front. There are more vector declarations for RAM and light color, light position and scale. And we can see function prototypes right after the vector declarations. And some of the functions we can see are about resizing window, rendering graphics, creating shader, about keyboard being pressed, or about a scenario when a special key is pressed, or when a key is released, or when a mouse is moved, or when a mouse is pressed and moved. After the function prototypes with the relevant arguments, we can see there are tons of codes for shader source codes. The first one being for vertex, the second one being for RAM fragment, and The third one being for lamp and the fragment shader. After the function prototypes with the relevant arguments and the shader source codes that we just saw, the main program is defined here with the arguments here, and we can see in the inside the main program that there are a lot of functions that are being called, and most of these functions they are defined after the main program. Some of them are resize window, render graphics, create shader, create buffers, and a lot more. They are all defined and coded accordingly, and they are being called in the main function. One can notice that this specific method called create buffers is taking a lot of space here, and this is because there are tons of coordinates to help create the RAM head in an OpenGL environment, and just to get the right coordinates, I remember taking help of AutoCAD software application at the time, and you can see this is really taking a lot of space here. I can just go down, down, and down. After the create buffers function, and there are more functions like generating buffer IDs, activating the VBO, setting the attribute pointer, and referencing the same VBO, and deactivating the VO, and a lot more. After this, we can see that those functions that were being called in the main function, they are coded here, and we can see that there are some switch cases utilized along with a couple of if cases in some specific keyboard functions. Like here in this case of keyboard pressed and press special key, we can see the switch cases. The code may look like it is excessively documented with some gaps here and there, and this may be because the code is quite huge and consists of so many lines, almost about 2000, thanks to the complexities that this object posed throughout the project time. I do feel the code could have been more compact, with some lines done away with, and maybe the commenting style could have been more consistent than what it is now. Also, it would have been interesting to see if there were some forms of control given to the users in the form of GUI to make some desired changes while exploring the RAM head. So my enhancement plan is to develop a GUI via the additional codes in order to give a sense of control to the users so that they can choose either a texture of their choice or lighting control that they desire, etc. Currently, every other feature is coded, and to make changes to these features, one has to read through the lines of codes to find the right places. I will see as I move along and define the scope of my work to determine how much of the planned functionalities can really be added or they need to be edited. Overall, the intent of the enhancement plan I'm proposing is to make the application look less intimidating, but more playful for its users. For algorithms and data structure category, I'm using the RESTful API for a MongoDB database as a starting point. For this project, I had developed a complete service application or RESTful API in Python for a MongoDB collection of stock market summary data. Here I have enabled a specific CRUD functionality in this API framework and use the given URIs to test and validate the framework. After all the required libraries are called in the beginning, the connection with the market database with the collection named stocks is made. Then all the methods such as create, read, update, delete are defined, after which the main function is called. For example, the create stock method. This method is there to help create a new stock document for the chosen ticker symbol. It uses a while loop to acknowledge the successful update and would print error if the update is not successful. The get stock method. This method is defined to read out the stock document for the chosen ticker symbol and again uses a while loop as well. The update stock method. This method is then defined to update the document for the chosen ticker symbol again and reads out the updated document when the update is successful. The delete stock method. This method is defined to delete the stock document again for the chosen ticker symbol. Alongside these methods, I have also enabled the functionality of advanced querying where the user can select and present the specific stock summary information by a user-derived list of ticker symbols, the get stock info method. This method here reads out the stock summary information for the chosen 3 ticker symbols using the pipeline algorithm in its execution. I have enabled another functionality as well, where the user can report the top 5 stocks with regards to the industry selected using the method called getPortfolio. Looking through the code, I would say it does implement the design correctly and completely while conforming to the pertinent coding standards. The code is well structured, consistent in style, and consistently formatted as well. In comparison to the previous code that I discussed, here this code looks much smaller and easier to read through. There do not seem to be any unused procedures or unreachable code as such. So overall, through this project, I learned how to create an API to get the relevant information out of a MongoDB database provided. But this artifact that I created for this class has motivated me to further learn about APIs created by other sources and explore how they function and how they can be used to get the most out of it. This is not an issue in the code analysis per se, but a concept that I wish to develop further on. So the enhancement plan I am proposing in this category is to use the other freely available APIs such as Weather API or the New York Times API to create a simple application with specific limited functionalities in Python and display the use of a different algorithm while utilizing the API created by the other resources. For the database category, I'm using the MongoDB databases I used for the class CS340 Advanced Programming Concepts as my starting point. All the databases that were used for this class were not graphical at all, with some of them so huge that the readability factor was almost non-existent, unless one writes some intelligent queries. My intended enhancement plan is to create a visual display of JSON databases that I have used for the MongoDB projects in this class. I'm planning to use this application called Neo4j and incorporate Cipher language to explore some methods to display the same data in graphical format for its users. The intent here is to make the huge database look visually easier for interpretation and analysis by using a different tool and a language than what I have used for my MongoDB projects earlier in CS340. So that concludes my code reviews of some of my earlier work as a foundational step toward producing enhanced work for the ePortfolio. Mr. Conlan, I appreciate your time and would always welcome any feedbacks on my enhancement plans or on how to move forward after this step. Thank you.